they had this contest where everybody had to bring their baby picture. And in my baby picture, I had this big old antique black phone. And people said, how damn old are you? And I thought I was the same age as everybody else. I had no idea that Dreamgirls would haunt us our whole lives. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And the hardest part, I think, of being an actress is you have to see what you lost. I'm lucky because I can be cussing a fan out and they think I'm just being funny. Mr. Devine, can I take a picture? No, get away from me.
Thank you.
I'm tired. And they go, okay, but you're going to take it, right?
Legacy, legacy. First, thank you so much for sitting.
My pleasure.
I'm really excited to talk to you about your beautiful body of work that I've been able to watch in real time as I've gotten older and as I've decided that I wanted to be in the business and wanted to have a voice and wanted to tell stories. I didn't know I wanted to be on screen. That was not a part of my plan. But I watched you on screen and heard your voice a lot. And you've been a part of, your legacy has really inspired me to want to step into the business, to want to be a part of it, to know I could be.
Yes.
And for that, I'm really grateful. And I'm just really excited to talk to you about the first thing I want to talk to you about is something I wasn't able to see because it's theater. And theater, that's the tough thing about theater, is I can hear about it. Right. I hear the stories. Right. And before we sat down, we talked about Miss Shirley Ralph having sat in this chair, the Jennifer Lewis also having sat in this chair. And it was important to me to talk to Jennifer Lewis about this project, which is Dreamgirls. Even though Jennifer Lewis did not make it to the stage per se, I got to be around her and hear those stories about her being a part of the beginning of that work. And it was really special to hear her story about, being a part of that workshop and being the first Jennifer to say Effie's words. But when Shirley Ralph was here, she talked about the audition process and how it was very harrowing and how it was a little tough. But there was something that I thought about. She said to me Loretta Devine in that moment was someone that we knew. And I was aware of who she was.
Oh, God.
And I thought, oh, wow. I didn't know that. And it was new information for me. And sure, I was trying to get in there. Jennifer was trying to get in there. But we knew who Loretta was. We were aware of her. So I was excited to ask you, what was your audition process like? And what did that feel like when you stepped into that room?
I think they may have known me because I had been in a few other Broadway shows before I got Dreamgirls. I was in Coming Uptown with Gregory Hines. And that's sort of like when I finally got into films, and I did Waiting to Exhale with Gregory Hines as my leading man. That made that very easy and very exciting for that particular thing. But Dreamgirls was such a long process. I think a lot of people don't know anything about how it came about. I don't think I had an audition per se. I think they already knew that I could sing and stuff. So what we did was a 6-week workshop, 6-week workshops in creating Dreamgirls, and we created it out of our own competition and imagination and feelings about different things that were happening. Henry Krieger was on the piano, and he had taught himself how to play music by ear, and so they would do improvs. And lucky for me, I'm from Houston, Texas. I had been the artistic director of the Black Arts Center, which was a theater group in Houston that did plays for the community. And we built the sets, we made the costumes, we wrote the scripts, and we did it a lot of times from improv. So, but when I got there, improv was really fun for me and great, and I understood it and knew how to help make things happen. So like the line, is showbiz, it's just showbiz, which was all the way through Dreamgirls. I made up that line. There are lines that Dina made up. There are lines that Jennifer, the whole thing came from the terror and the pressure of creating. Sometimes you'd be happy that things were approved. Other times you would be terrified that you were going to have to do certain things. And when people left, like when Jennifer left and came back, and Cheryl and I had to be close to make sure that we continued to work in it. So Cheryl said was the most beautiful time in her life and the worst time in her life, because it was so hard. It was so many hard things going on. And we didn't know if they were going to continue with us. There were people that were there before us. The idea of it had been around a long time with Tom Iron. And we lost people that we had fallen in love with. Ramona Brooks, who was nobody ever got to really know, but she was an incredible talent. So there were people that came and go. What happened with Jennifer, there were stories that made it and didn't make it. And so, and Shirley and I were there for all of them.
Did you, as that was happening, were you able to take it in, the magic that was going on in that room? Or were you just so focused on the work every day?
Oh, God. I think we were focused on the work every day because we didn't know what was going to happen as a result of the things that we created. How do I put this? And also there were a lot of other things going on, because once the show got up in 81 and it ran for 4 straight years, that was when the work really started, in that so many other things started happening in the show and outside of the show. They decided to create another show just like our show for LA, but they wouldn't let us come. Shirley was determined to go, and we were upset about it. There were things that happened as a result of that, in conflict with her and Michael Bennett, that Shirley handled in only the way Shirley can handle things. And I want to save and tell it on her when she get her star on Walk of Fame, so everybody will know what Shirley was like when she was that young and that cute and that confident. I think the thing that was so incredible about her at the time was that she actually knew her worth. A lot of times when you're that young, you don't know what your value is. So there were so many things going on at the time. There were people that would say, don't go over to so-and-so's house because we might not ever see you again. There were all kind of things that were happening. I mean, it was the big city, and we had come from everywhere. I came from Houston. I just came, and I don't know what made me think I could just come and do it, because my mom named me Loretta after Loretta Young. She used to tell me, so you go, oh, I'm supposed to be an actress, huh, Ma? Yeah. So it's sort of like, it was that kind of dreaming. It's really the kind of dreaming that young people do. I mean, you dream about doing something. I got a chance to go to the University of Houston to study it, and then you just do it. You go and do it, and you don't know how. I felt everybody had a different story. And there's a posse of girls that were there at the same time that were trying to create their lives. Jackie Harry, Vanessa Bell Calloway, Debbie Burrell, Terry Burrell, Roz Ryan. You could just go on and on. There was at least about 20 girls that were always auditioning for the same thing. They were always trying to be in the... I got a part in Hair with Elena Reed when she was there, and Elena told me, if you mess up, I'm going to knock your ass off this scaffold. And there were people that were teaching life lessons, and you were like, oh my God, am I going to stand up from under the sheet? Oh God. Because in Hair, you could stand up naked at the end, So I was like, oh my God, my mom would kill me. So there were all these stupid things in your head, but you were young. And I was not even as young as I thought I was young, because when I should tell the story, because we were talking about Dreamgirls. When I was, they had this contest where everybody had to bring their baby picture. And in my baby picture, I had this big old antique black phone. And people said, how damn old are you? And I thought I was the same age as everybody else, but I think I was 5 years ahead or so, but still it was like a century to them. And you have to realize that at that time, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all of the things that everybody has to become rich and famous. And so it was sort of like grinding through. We were all, once the show happened, we were all trying to get record deals. We were all trying to figure out what the next thing would be, or we didn't know how long it would last, and or those kind of things. And then you had an instrument that you had to use totally every night. Was running up and down stairs to dress to be back in time before the flat hit the whatever. So it was really a challenge, and I think it gets you over ready for Hollywood, because Hollywood seems easy after you've done Broadway for 4 years. It's just another kind of thing.
What does it feel like to be one of the original Dreamgirls?
I had no idea that Dreamgirls would haunt us. Our whole lives, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're doing it in Japan. They're doing it. Every high school girl, it's a legend, and it's great to be part of things that last forever.
Dreamgirls obviously had a real impact, and it stuck, not just with you, but with all of us. And even though there are those of us that weren't around yet and we couldn't go and experience it, but there's an image, there's a photograph that a lot of us have seen, which I think speaks to the impact of what you all were doing at that time. And it's a gorgeous photo of Miss Phylicia Rashad and Miss Debbie Allen standing in front of the theater in the classic iconic pose from the poster. And they've obviously gone to see it, these two amazing Black artists, women. And in the image, they're just so joyful and so happy and excited. And even though I couldn't see it, I can feel the joy in them and what you all obviously just gave them. And your
Debbie, Phylicia, and I are all from Houston, Texas.
Come on.
And when I got to New York, Debbie was already established in my mind. So I contacted her and said, what can I get into? What can I do? And Phylicia ended up doing Dreamgirls. So, and I think Debbie met her husband Norm at the backstage door of Dreamgirls. So it was like, I feel like I'm telling secrets or something, but it was still all of these enter things that were going on that you would only know about if you were in it. I think Debbie's first play.
It wasn't Sweet Charity. It wasn't.
It was Debbie Allen. Some girl went away on vacation, and Debbie was the understudy. When she came back, Debbie was like, bye.
Get out. I'm staying. Let me be here.
It was like, and to this day, when I see Debbie, if I'm doing a show and I see Debbie Allen coming, I go, oh God, because I was doing Different World.
It was great. You just took me to my next.
when Debbie Allen came, and it was like, when I was doing Grey's Anatomy, when Debbie Allen came, I was like, I think they killed my character the day after I got the Emmy or something. And so every time I see Debbie coming, I'll be like, oh my God. I think the last time I saw her was at the Juanita Moore's Star on the Walk of Fame. And we talk all the time because I worked in her shows and everything. But I'd be like, I say, Debbie, don't come over here.
Stay over there.
Don't visit over here or nothing. So it was like that.
Well, you mentioned the show, A Different World. Uh-huh. That means a ton to me. A Different World changed my life.
Changed mine too.
How did it change your life?
I was in London doing Colored Museum, and they called me back to L.A. For Different World for the last audition, and I got it. And that was the first time I had brought my mom to London. She'd never been on a plane, and I had to leave her there by herself with the cast of Colored Museum to take care of her while I was gone, and I got the job. And so it was a very exciting time. It was like my first big job, and so
as Stevie.
Yeah, as Stevie, the dorm director.
Yes.
And
who Dwayne Wayne hits on, sort of like not realizing.
Yeah, there were a couple of those silly roles, but I think a lot of times I'm cast because of the lightness of my voice and because I'm kind of Southern, or I may be a lot Southern, and I think a lot of people have to understand that a lot of times the casting is because of their personage underneath, and then if you've studied acting, because I have a PhD in theater arts from University of Houston and Brandeis University, then you have to learn to create the roles that are distant from you. But people like to hire what they feel or what they see or what you make them feel. And so a lot of times that happens. So
what is it like being on a multicam sitcom that's a spinoff of a really popular show, but in its first season, because it's also your first sort of big gig, it's multicam, so it's in front of a live audience, which I don't think bothers you. But is it interesting to be a part of a first season of something, not knowing what it is or what it's going to be?
See, I had this mentality that was probably all wrong because I didn't have a lot of money and I was by myself. I was on my own when I first hit LA. And so it was sort of like the more I work, the more you get residuals. And that whole residual thing was like really important to me. So on Different World, and what they don't talk about is whatever is going on at the top of it has a lot to do with what it actually is going to be. So a lot of people had come through and were gone. Phylicia Rashad, I think, who was very popular. That there were a lot of popular divas that had been on it. And I came to LA with the Color Museum, so they had seen that, which was part of whatever, came afterwards. But it was exciting. It was scary too, because they were letting people go and they were making decisions about what the show was going to be. They weren't sure at first how dramatic it was going to be or how funny it was going to be. If you'll notice, most of the people in show business, in black theater and in black show business are comedians. I mean, they are the ones that are given their own show. They're the number one on the call list usually. If you're doing drama or whatever, even if you have a college education in it, it don't matter to nobody. Don't nothing matter. It's the weirdest thing.
Right.
Yeah. They don't look at how much you've done, and a lot of the times your work comes from people you work with before, or people that have seen you and said, "Oh yeah, I could deal with that," or "I like the way she does that," which is surprising for you. When I came into the business, I thought the more work you did, the more important you should be, but that doesn't apply. I thought the more people, the longer something was alive because it was a good work. But then I found out you have to pay for a publicist. A lot of times people are paying to become famous in lots of ways. So once you deal with that, and the hardest part, I think, of being an actress is you have to see what you lost. Mm. You go up for things, you didn't get it, you lost it, you see it, and you go, I can't believe that happens a lot. And then you go, okay, stop being so hard on yourself, because you do. I mean, Dreamgirls was hard for me because I was like the invisible dream. They would go to Jennifer Holliday, then they would go to Cheryl, and if those two couldn't do it, they would skip and go to Ben Hunt, to the men. And so I called myself the invisible dream for the longest. And so that has an effect on your ego, or the way you, so I had to do a lot of the stuff that people always do. I made my own song to give myself, like, I am Loretta Devine, yeah, that kind of thing, to keep my ego up as far as going into things. But I did okay when I got to LA. I didn't know I would, but it worked out okay. It's worked.
Yeah, and there's a movie that I got to revisit on doing my research for this that brought me a ton of joy, because I used to watch it way too much, just every single day. A movie called Class Act.
Class Act.
Where you play Blade's mom. And what's so interesting about that movie is that as I was just like looking through the papers and looking for the character's name, it literally just says Blade's mom.
Uh-huh.
And
it was a small part. They considered a small part compared to.
But as I watched the movie again in its entirety, there's a really beautiful scene with you and Blade. I'll say play.
Exactly.
Blade. And there's a flower, there's a rose on the table while he's doing his homework. And you ask him about it.
Yes.
And he says, it's for you. And it's just a quiet smile and a moment between the two of you that I think as a kid, just watching the movie and just all the time and not thinking about it, I think as I sat there last night watching it again as a 40-year-old woman, you know, and also paying attention even closer to you, I could just see your magic. You became even more visible to me in that scene. I'm just curious, what was it like being on that set, or was it just another job?
Well, nothing was just another job. It was like a big thing if you got a job. It was always like, because you never knew. The thing about acting, too, is that once the first job ends, you never know when you're going to get your next, or how the next job is going to come about. And writers often make the importance of the lead character more by the relationship they have with their parents. So, because I was always playing somebody's mom from the time I started almost. I mean, I did, my first big movie was Little Nikita with Sidney Poitier. To me, that was a huge movie. But then there was trauma in that too. But she's don't do that. It was. I'll tell you about it if you want to know. But anyway, you know, so you're always excited to work. But when you first get started, you can't figure out, why are these people following them around? You can't even go to the bathroom without somebody knowing where you are. What is the problem with this? And people bossing you around all day. They put the makeup on and then they don't want you to touch it. And then you go, hell, I'm bringing me some extra powder because I'm shining and this woman don't seem to notice. So you have all these things that you're trying to keep straight, you know. So I think that they should figure out a way to let young people know all these things because they really expect some joyous blah, 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 blah. But it's a job. It's a work. You have to know your lines. You have to hit the mark. You have to know what they mean when they say banana too. You go, banana? What am I, banana? Okay, I got to figure that out. The next time you got to learn how to cry on cue. They ain't got to wait all day. Because if you're playing a black mom, not just you're going to have to cry. There are all these basic things that you have to learn to make this stuff work quick. If Debbie is directing it, if Tyler is directing it, it's come on, let's go, let's get this done. And you know that that's the way she works. And so you learn, you know, get it in there. She's going to be looking stupid in this movie. So, you know, once you learn those kind of things,
cry quick. Got it.
On top of it a little bit better. So it was always a joy to work. People always ask me, what's your favorite? My favorite job is usually the one I'm on because that's the only thing that's important. Because if you do whatever job you do, your worst job in may cause you to lose a lot of things that you would not have lost if you had been on point. So I always try to be on point. I don't care who. I've done so many independent, unimportant films, or that people but the ones that have been the most effective have sometimes been the smaller films. You never know. It's like throwing paint against the wall. You never know what's going to stick, what's going to mean something to somebody. But people will let you know. Your fans will say, you did this for my family because when they saw this, that made us feel this way. And that made me feel good. And I'm lucky because I can be cussing a fan out and they think I'm just being funny. Mr. Devine, can I take a picture? No, get away from me.
Like, thank you.
I'm tired. And they go, okay, but you're going to take it, right?
It's your voice. It's the affliction. It's the lightness.
And it's also the fact that I do love people. I think people are just, you know, you got to really catch me when I'm running. And it's usually I have to be somewhere, do something where, because my husband fusses at me because he says, you never want to say no. I like saying yes. It makes people feel good, so it's that kind of thing. I haven't answered any of your questions, have I?
You have. Beautifully, beautifully. There's another show that you were in. You popped up in season 2, and I used to watch this show a ton with my family. And rewatching it again, it brought back so many great memories. I'm talking about Rock. And the first episode you appear in is season 2, and it's a season opener. And watching it, there's this cool thing where Rock starts the episode. Charles Dutton starts the episode and tells you that it's going to be filmed live. It's a funny episode and it's good and you're great there. And I'm just curious what that was like for you to be on that show and how was that experience filming with them? And also a little trivia that I didn't realize until I watched it again, that Phylicia Rashad is also in the same episode that you are in. And I'm curious if you two crossed paths while taping the episode.
I don't know. It feels like I met Leela on a Waiting to Exhale.
But you two are in the same episode.
Really?
Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I knew Charles Dutton from doing a movie with him, which was way back in the day. And I used to say to him, "Stop looking at me, Dutton. Your eyes feel like hands. Just go look over yonder."
Look over yonder? Come on. Houston is in the building. Jesus.
Look over yonder. I think we were in something where we had slave clothes on or something. I can't remember, but look up the movie. It's in the IMDb. Okay. How was it like? It's always excited to get on a TV show because it feels like you're going to be rich, because it goes to like 26 and 27 of these
You're in a few episodes. You pop up. You stick around.
I was like in a couple episodes. So you're like, oh God, yeah, I'm going to have some money. I'm going to be able to chill. So then you don't worry so much about what your next job is going to be. You chill for a while until somebody calls and say, yeah, they are interested in you for something else. And then you go, okay.
Are you thinking about character work? Are you, when you're going in to do a show where you're a guest in the show, but you're a part of the cast? Or I'm just curious, what's going through your mind as you're showing up for work every day? Just to do a good job?
Well, once you get the script, you create the character. You decide on what the particular relationships are, and you decide how you fit into the game. And unless the director gives you other directions, you're cool. You're fine with whatever you come up with. So I've always tried to create my character before the director get to me, because see, like, all directors aren't sane. All the people. Sometimes the director, I've been on a couple of shows where you go, what the hell? What show is that? So you have to, be sure you got a clear view of what you're doing.
Wow.
And what you're trying to create. And so when they put their spin on it, you go, okay, that'll make some sense. But you still have to control what you're doing. And believe in what you're doing, no matter what they're doing, because you don't know what they got going on in their head necessarily. And usually I learned from being on Grey's Anatomy because they would have a different director every week. And Ellen Pompey would say, I do this every day. So you can tell me so much, but I'm going to do what I have created. So it was sort of like I usually feel that way about, especially now that I'm older and I don't care. You can find me if you want to. So, but usually now I'm like, I just finished doing the Miss Pat show.
Jordan Cooper.
And I really fell in love with her before I did the show, because we got a chance to do a small play, well, not a movie that is trying to come out. And the world changed after COVID. Before COVID, if you did a movie, it would be in the movie houses in a couple of weeks. And if it lasts 2 weeks, that was good. Everybody made their money back. But it's so different now. People make all these incredible movies and there's nowhere to put them. If they put them somewhere, it's somewhere that's streaming. It's not in the movie house, because people aren't going to the movie houses the way they used to. And they haven't figured out a way to get them to go back yet. And they're hoping that happens. So there are a lot of festivals. And so doing press can go on for 3 years or so. I mean, they can call you and go, oh, we finally got a such and such an award at this festival or that festival. And so now maybe we can stream it or sell it to Netflix or something like that. So it's a different reality.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about going to the movie houses. This next movie we're going to talk about is one that did very well at the box office, and people were going to the movie houses. And I remember being a little young 12-year-old, shouldn't have even been going to see this movie, but I was like everybody else and wanted to go be in the theaters. Talking about Waiting to Exhale.
Oh my God, yeah.
It is one of those films that just sticks. It's stuck
That's
in
a
the
classic.
Yes, it's stuck in the moment. You guys stuck the landing right away. And what I think was so amazing at that time, even being a young person, like watching my mom and her friends and seeing that press tour, which was a big, robust press tour, you all and obviously Terry McMillan, I just remember understanding that it was important.
Yeah, it was important.
I just knew it was important. I could feel it.
It's one of the first Black movies that they did advance press for the way they do for white movies. They started talking about Waiting to Exhale months ahead of time. The women started planning their parties and they had all read the book and they'd had the book club thing. And so it had a huge following. There were all these movies that came about because of Waiting to Exhale. That were white things. What is them 4 white girls that was running around on TV after that?
Sex and the City?
Yes, that came about. A lot of things came from that. And it was so successful because when the community decides that this is good and I'm going to push it, and the community was strong behind Waiting to Exhale. They were very strong. They were strong behind Preacher's Wife because it was Denzel and Whitney. And it was a glorious time to be in the movies for me because, God, it was like so great when the movies came out and they had the big parties. You dress up and, oh, I'm so wonderful. And yes. And then now where am I going to work next?
Well, look, I mean, that movie obviously did a great deal for the industry, for all 4 of you. I'm curious, how familiar were you with the book before it became a film? Were you a part of that group of women that understood the book, knew that it was important?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so
Terry McMillan was hot. Everybody was reading everything that she wrote.
When you read it, were you thinking that this should be a movie, or was that really far from your mind?
Oh, no, I never thought like that. I never knew what should be anything. That wasn't my thing.
So when it came about that it was going to be a film, did it kind of hit your radar that you thought maybe I be a part of it?
You wanted to get you wanted to audition for it, which was the thing, and I had been in a film in Canada or something. I hadn't seen Black people for like a month, and my co-star hollered, "Black man on the elevator." And I went running. And I got on the elevator. I just hit the wall and said, "Hi." And I didn't know who he was, but it turned out it was Forrest Whitaker. Later, I said, and then when I went to audition, I prayed he didn't remember me as the dumb chick in the elevator. That's all I said was hi. But it had happened years before I got the audition. And it was, the whole thing was about, the 4 women were so different, but sort of like covered a big spectrum. I was considered the fat girl. So they said, you got to eat because we want you to be big in this movie. And Leela was the sexy one. Mm-hmm. Angela Bassett we used to laugh because Angela was always so proper. Wendy would go, "What is she? Is she still in character?" I go, "No. This is just the way Angela talks. Leave her alone." So, when you think about all these women always together, everybody is so, Angela and I have worked together in a couple of films, and Leela and I have worked together in a couple of films.
What was that set like?
Well, Gregory Hines brought me roses my week when they did my stuff, so I made everybody jealous. I was just like, what did your lead man get for you? It was sort of like that, you know. It's like, shut up, Loretta. But anyway, it was that kind of. I mean, it was fun. It took them 3 months to do Waiting to Excel. They took their time. They had to teach somebody how to swim. I mean, I think it was me, because I was supposed to have a near drown experience in the pool, and it really was. But they cut it out the movie, so it was fun. It's always exciting. I mean, I shouldn't say you're getting free meals, free boarding. I mean, it's the life, you know. If you can really get into movies, and it was 3 months in Arizona having fun.
What did you all do, you, Whitney, Angela, and Leela, do to ensure that we believed you all as friends? Were there did you guys say, hey, okay, we got to hang out? Or
yeah, we hung out. We did, but we went bowling a couple of times. We went to parties. We went to games. So we were friends. I mean, and everybody, like I say, you're inside, when you're an actress at a certain period of time, you're in a reality where you all audition for similar things if you're in the same age group. So everybody sort of know everybody. And so you have relationships already established. Like I was doing theater, and everybody that was interested in theater in San Diego, that theater in San Diego, I did the Billie Holiday Story, Jennifer Lewis, everybody, it would be 30 of other actors come to see what you're doing, you know, because that's how it goes. And Jennifer got on the table and did a big speech, and, you know, and it was just the way it was. So when you're working with people that you know, that you've loved for a long time, that you sort of like know what their temperament is, I love the way Jennifer is.
Me too.
Some people go, she's too big. She's too big. Yeah, but that's Jennifer. She's
the best.
She's the best, you know? And so it was fun. You get to know everybody, and and they kicked us out when they kicked us out of, at first they let us see the dailies, but it was one scene where Whitney had these white shoes on, and we started laughing so loud. They said, you cannot come back to the dailies because you all don't know how to act. That was me, Leela, Angela. We were like in the dailies going, what the hell is that? And they put us out. So it was that kind of, so we didn't care. We went clubbing or something, but it was fun.
Were you nervous about the buildup and the pressure surrounding the movie? Because there was so much excitement. There was so much talk. There was so much a desire for the movie to be everything that we all wanted to be.
It totally changed my life. I couldn't go anywhere because, I mean, people were in an airport. If they recognized you, you had to run. I mean, in New York, I mean, it was huge. And I had never been in anything that made that big of a difference. I mean, but it did. And so you become famous like overnight. And so fame feels a whole lot different than where you can just go everywhere without having to explain it, because people want to know, why are you in my world? What the hell? Why aren't you in the TV? I mean, or why aren't you, what? Oh my God! You know, that kind of thing. But now, even when that came out, it wasn't internet crazy yet. I mean, people weren't making a living off of having a picture with you. So now it's so different because a picture with you will change something. I don't know. It's a different thing from then. I mean, because they want to hold you. People want to hug you. Men and women, and they want to show you the walk. Remember when you turned around and did that walk? The men would do the walk. You would go, this is so crazy. But
it's such an iconic scene. Yeah. When you were filming that, did you and Gregory, were you talking about it beforehand? Did you have a sense what Forrest it was going for? I'm curious, what did you feel like when you first saw it on the screen?
A lot. When we first saw the movie, a lot of stuff got cut out. Because, like I said, they shot for 3 months. That's a whole lot of shooting, right? And so they worked a long time to get it exactly the way they wanted. But we just would do the same. We just would do it. Giancarlo Esposito, who played my husband.
Giancarlo, amazing. Phenomenal.
You would never know what the range of things he's done. And it was just, he wasn't like huge. You know, you can say his name now and everybody know who you're talking about. But it was just you would wish that every movie you worked in was that exciting and had all of that stuff going on that was going on. And Forrest was very soft spoken. He would come in and go, "Everybody be quiet, Forrest is here. He's gonna say something. Did he say it yet? Shut up." It was that kind of attitude. Everybody was protective of everybody else. And I think you can see the love in the movie.
Absolutely.
The love sort of like shows and the feelings that everybody had for each other. And there was an order. I think Angela was sort of like the boss because she could change the mood of the room because she was because of her her presence. And you go, "Here she comes."
Look, I've had to get in the ring with her. It's no joke. Like, you got to step your game up when you're in the scene with Angela. You're like, hold on, because
Like, stand up straight.
oh yeah, am I doing this right? She's like royalty. It's a very
But it's certain people have that as
it's just her aura.
presence.
Yeah,
It's what they have in their presence. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
it's
think
all good.
you have such beautiful scenes in that movie with your son. And those, they're funny, but they're heartfelt and humorous.
Mhm.
I got a chance to work with Giancarlo Esposito on a film, and I got to watch him up close and see how he works. And it was really important for me because I remember those scenes with you and him, and also dealing with just queer Black male sexuality in a way that I don't think we understood was as significant as it was at the time.
Exactly.
The character work with you and Gregory Hines is so special and so beautiful because we're getting a chance to see what healthy love looks like and him encouraging her to let her son spread his wings. Yes. And also the amazing church scene where you're not even saying any lines, but you're setting your son free and the pastor sort of does the work for you.
It's a beautiful show. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
And you're a big part of that. You're a huge part of it. And so Waiting to Exhale means so much to all of us. This is the first time we've talked about it on Legacy Talk, which brings me to another classic in your legacy, in your repertoire. It's not Christmas until I watch this movie. The Preacher's Wife.
So much happened in the filming of that movie. That was a long shoot too. I don't think it was 3 months, but that was Penny Marshall.
Yes, I know.
And a major fire happened while I wrote poems about it and put it in my one-woman show while we were filming that movie. And they had to, I think people's lives were lost and everything, and they had to figure out a way to get the fire trucks into where the set was. And that I remember that more about that movie than anything. It was always exciting because we were doing, weird to me because we were doing church scenes and Penny Marshall would have to think, okay, now we're going to do this. She was a nonstop smoker. And it went on through the whole movie. Jennifer Lewis, we were all there doing that movie together, and it was interesting. Some things I can't talk about, but it was very interesting.
It's interesting because it's a very wholesome movie.
It is wholesome.
It's wholesome.
Yes.
And it's one of those movies that I just watched all the time, even when it wasn't Christmas. But now, every Christmas, I think we all revisit it. And
so Titus Burgess has been working on
a musical.
Yeah, and I did
for stage.
I did the stage production of it for 3 months this past year at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. And that was like, oh my God, it was an experience and a half. Amber Riley played Whitney's part.
The Preacher's Wife.
Yeah, and because you have to really sing over and over and over and over. And so they're still trying to get that done. And they may be successful. Who knows?
I mean, I love that. I'd love for the legacy of that film to continue. And obviously, it is a remake of another film called The Bishop's Wife. But to see it through a Black lens, even though, with the lovely white woman directing it, what was it like to... I love Penny Marshall, R.I.P.
I know, I love Penny Marshall, too.
I mean, what was it like being directed by her?
she had a real, I mean, we would do things over and over until it was like perfect in the idea that was given. But when I think of her, I just think about this woman with this cigarette going, now we're going to do this, we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again until we get this right. Now we're going to do it like this. Now, I said, she's smoking in church. She's not supposed to have a cigarette in church. She don't know where she's at. Oh my God, Penny, put that cigarette out. And Whitney's real mom was there, and then Jennifer was playing her mom, and Jennifer and Whitney's real mom was always like, well, you go sit there where I'm the mom. And oh God, it was a great experience.
Was it? It's interesting. 'Cause obviously, you and Whitney had worked together previously. Was there a sort of even more comfort knowing that she would be around again, and you guys would kind of get to be around each other again? It's almost Miss Angela's spirit is almost there because Courtney B. Vance is there, and you know, how did it feel to be? It felt like a very familial set.
We hung out, you know. I have pictures of me, her, and Leela at some club, all dressed up, having fun. And yeah, it was always wonderful to know that you're gonna. My mindset was sort of like once you start working and you're working a lot and you're working with things, it's like a snowball that rolls. It never occurred to me that things would be as big as they became or as important as they were to everybody. It was like you just go do your job and be, you know, and everything is going to be fine. It was sort of that attitude, I think.
Wow.
Until COVID.
It's like, oh.
It was like, it's like now you're just not sure what's going to happen. What an egg is going to cost. Right. It was sort of like that. Yeah, now. But then it was, this is Hollywood. And then at a point, there are things that flip that you don't understand because you've outgrown the group or the age group changes, and then it becomes about a whole new group of girls, like the girls in Black is the New Orange or whatever, Orange is the New Black or whatever. So then everything becomes about the next group that's coming up.
Next wave, if you will.
The next wave of new people. And then things begin to change.
Yeah, but
it has to. Things changed when you came on the scene. Yeah, that was a new. Ava DuVernay came around about the same time.
Ava DuVernay.
Listen, me messing up everybody's name.
I like the way you said it better. No, Ava was here the other day as well.
I've worked with Ava too, but in Cecily Tyson, the last show she did with Cecily Tyson and
yeah, I remember
Quincy Jones.
Yes,
that was. My memory of things is funny, so when you ask me stuff, like all I remember is when I did that show with Cecily Tyson, she go, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm playing your best friend." Oh, okay.
Well, speaking of Miss Cecily Tyson, one of our icons who is no longer Earthside, but still, you know, reigns and her spirit is still around, movie Hoodlum comes to mind. For you, what was that like to be in that environment, wearing those clothes with that cast, and you shining so bright in that performance? Pigfoot Mary.
That was an exciting experience too. Hoodlum's was great, I think, because most of my scenes were with Shy, and then there was the death scene, and it was just, each one of these films is so different. If you go from one thing to another, it's almost like jumping from one reality to another reality and making up all these characters from dress all the way to the manner of speaking and everything. And what was the experience that was so weird? The little guy kept hitting me in the head in that death scene, and that upset one of the lead actors. But everybody had their own way of making real whatever it is that was happening. See, if I knew which movies you were going to ask me about, I could get these stories totally together to tell you, because it was always stuff that goes on while you're doing these movies. While you're doing the stage shows, you know, or the the multi-camera movie, TV things.
You mean life is happening?
Yeah, the life things that are happening. There's the movie happening, but there's also all these life things that go on for months while you're doing it, and then the people just go away. I know that sounds strange because then you move on to the next job, and that's a whole nother experience. And then those people go away, and then you move on to the next job.
How is that for you? Are you able to, because yes, you're a part of a family for a few months or for a month or a few weeks, and you have to be so embedded in it. And you're,
Right.
obviously in a certain wardrobe and you're playing a certain character. Is there a compartmentalizing that has to happen for you to be able to let your life stuff push it back a bit so you can?
As you get older, you have to do more. Like I had to come up with a way of memorizing all these lines because everybody wants you to do their script, and the way they write it has a lot to do with what the character is opposed to, and you have to shut down the way you talk or the way you would say it. And so I came up with a method of making that happen. And then a new movie I did recently about an auction in Cleveland. They wrote long paragraphs that you were supposed to just do off the top of your head. And that was like a very hard experience. And I always say, movies are supposed to be acting, not action, pictures, not all this talking. And so the older you get, I think the harder it gets, depending on what the writing is like or what they're trying to say. But things have always been similar in focus.
Well, I'd love to talk to you about Jackie's Back.
Oh my God.
Look, I love Jennifer Lewis
Yes.
so much. I know you do too. And so I've seen Jackie's Back a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
A lot.
And I loved seeing you in it as Snooki, her childhood
With
friend.
that wig on. Was that wig?
Here's the thing about that movie. Written by Mark Brown and Dee LaDuke, my former bosses. It feels like that movie's such a labor of love. And it's also literally every friend that Jennifer has ever made in her child. It's literally like, this is your life, Jennifer. That's what the mockumentary really is. Obviously, a play on herself. How was that for you? And how many days did you film those scenes?
It was just, I think it was like a day shoot for me.
Oh, okay.
It was quick. A lot of times, a lot of the things that I've done that are independent films or short films are like day or two things. It's not 3 months like Wayne did say. But yeah, it was another. You can't help but have fun when Jennifer is running the game. It was like that. It was great.
And a lot of us worship Robert Townsend for a lot of reasons. But what was it like to be directed by him for the first time, even if it was just for a day?
He pulls stuff out of you, and he go, okay, we're not going to have any of those tricks that you've learned to make everything work. You have to go. We're going to get in there and get deeper. You go, okay, what the fuck is he talking about? But he really tries to lead you into ways of dealing with things that are not like the way you would normally bring it. So he worked really hard. I think he's always worked really hard on how he puts everything together, and how the other thing that I did for him was with teen boys that were in trouble, and he would work with them like a class structure kind of thing on the side. So he's a very hard worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his work. There's another TV movie you did that was on HBO that was really moving and really important to me, and I think a lot of us. Was introducing Dorothy Dandridge.
Oh, God.
It just was such a big moment for me. I wasn't very familiar with Dorothy Dandridge's her life.
Uh-huh.
How much, obviously, you knew about this actress and what she had done, but how excited were you to be a part of this production that Shonda Rhimes actually helped write that script, and obviously Halle Berry was leading the charge? What did it mean for you to be Ruby Dandridge?
Oh my God. The movie did well, and it was also another period piece in a lot of ways. And Sam Jackson's wife was in it.
Yes, Mr. Tanya
And
Jackson.
yeah, Tanya. And we had never got a chance to work together that much. So that was exciting to be able to be on the screen with her. You never know what's gonna was like I always say, it's like throwing paint against the wall. You never know what's gonna stick. But I think that was one of the movies that people were really excited about when it came about, because it was so different from the norm of what you get a chance to see. And that was like one of Halle's only period pieces, I think. I don't know if ever she went into another kind of genre where she was playing cops and other things, types of characters, but that in that show she got a chance to be beautiful, and we got a chance to do a period piece that had a particular energy to it, a particular cadence that was different from what you normally get a chance to do. So that's what made it exciting for me.
Was it a little difficult in terms of, do you have to work with a voice coach when you're doing a period piece? Are there things you're thinking about? Were you looking at old Dorothy Dandridge movies to prep for it? And did you sort of feel that responsibility of telling this woman's story, another Black actress who obviously had paved the way for actresses that would come after her, that she obviously didn't get a chance to see the Hollywood that you got to experience?
Well, because I'm from the South, I think we were kind of living.
That much has changed.
Some of that attitude, that keeping your eyes lowered. There were things that sort of like come with the neighborhood, and the way you do things, which is a part of why I think you get cast in some of these roles. But of course you do you look up as much as you can look up and see. And nowadays with the internet and everything, no matter what the script is, even if a word is a little strange, you can just go to the dictionary section. You can go to whatever section and look at whatever, which as a whole makes doing everything so much easier. It's like a piece of cake now.
So it was hard for you to find things before going into that movie, just to kind of get a sense of what that time or world was like. Obviously, that wasn't your era, but
yeah,
you guys were just trying to make sure you got it as accurate as you could.
Exactly. So that's what you had to do. You had to look up some things, and some things some of the stuff I've seen, because as you go, you look up and try to figure out what kind of roles am I going to be right for? What am I going to do? And so, yeah.
You have a very signature voice. Your speaking voice, your singing voice.
Uh-huh.
We all love it. We know it. And as we've had other guests in this chair, we've talked about voice over work and how it's a different thing. It's a different skill.
Yeah.
And there's a show that I used to watch all the time, and I was happy I got to revisit it for this show, which is The PJs.
Oh, God.
And you obviously play Eddie Murphy's character's wife.
Right.
And I'm curious, were you in the room with Eddie when doing the voice, or were you by yourself?
When we first started doing it, it was everybody. It would be like everybody would come and do and work on set up the mics, and everybody would work. I never worked with Eddie Murphy.
Wow.
Personally.
That's crazy.
And I heard that maybe Eddie Murphy wasn't doing it some of the time. And so because Jennifer wasn't, everybody, I'm telling you, it was the same circles. Everybody, Don Lewis, everybody came through PJs, but they shut it down, and we were so hurt.
It's so interesting because I loved that show as a young person. I think I understood what you all were saying and what you were doing. It never felt like you were making fun of anyone.
No, it wasn't that kind of thing. So, but they were saying that, like the man in the garbage can and all of that.
Yes, they're crackheads, and yes, they're the projects, and yes,
we're trying to have better images, and why are those the images that are being allowed to be put on? And so, but I've done so many voiceover jobs, and I'm in Lil Kev, which has just come
Which I
out.
also saw, yeah, and loved.
Yeah, Young Love, which is I played Israel's
Yeah,
mom.
yeah. I was curious. I want to get your perspective on this idea of positive images of Black people. Where do you think that comes from with us? And it's interesting because I've been contemplating about even asking certain folks, like, what is your idea of a positive image? And where do we get these ideas of what positive is?
To me, when I'm watching something, I go, "Where are the Black girls?" I don't care what it is, or where are the Black people? Is that real? If there's no Black people at all, where is this world? Or and there are places where there are no Black people, but are those the things that they're doing now? I don't know. If you're in the United States, you have to have a mixture of people, I think, because there's all kinds of people that are everywhere doing everything. You go to a Dodger game, you're not going to just see any one race of people. So the new TV is the internet, Instagram, Meta, AI. I mean, so the images that are on that are people laughing at people and people trying to have a good time, people talking about their fears and the difference between the world now and the world. Like there was no such thing as bipolar when we were young. It was if you don't go sit over there, that was that.
No ADHD. Just bad.
No. You're right. But it's everything is so. Not to be there to me is negative. When we're excluded from everything, and now they'll put people in. You can tell when somebody's just added to be polite or whatever, but you're trying to get to do things that are real that people can believe in when you're trying to create something. So if you're going to create, like we create shows with all Black characters, and everybody goes to work for somebody that's not Black off and on, and so when you start looking at the hierarchy of things, seem like everybody would have to be included. So
yeah, and before we go to the next credit, I'm just curious because as I was watching the PJs today, it's available on YouTube. Somebody's got all the episodes available. I was laughing. I was feeling so much and just obviously appreciating all the voices, very familiar ones. What did you think of the material when you were reading those scripts, those early days? Because I trust your taste. I really trust the decisions that you've been making in your career. And so as I was watching that, I thought to myself, because you have to read it, you have to say yes. It has to be very intentional for you.
Just like there's a PJs, there's also a Doc McStuffin,
right?
Which is a totally. So if when you have all of that on, then you can pick and choose what you want to be entertained by. The funniest thing I've seen lately is a little girl on Instagram that was about 2 inches high telling her teacher, "Look, Linda." And she said, "My name ain't Linda." "Well, look, Linda, I would take a day off if I was you." But that was the funny. I mean, I laughed for 2 days. I said, that little girl, she need a movie contract because she's like, but babies are all the way there now at that age where when we were coming up, you speak when you're spoken to, be quiet. Adults are the ones that are important. You have a place until you become old enough to do whatever. But it's a new world, girl. I can't tell you what's going to be happening, but it's on. It's going to be popping.
You know what's interesting? At the beginning of this conversation, we talked about Dreamgirls. And that legend, of course, kind of resurrected again when it came time for there to be a movie musical.
Oh, God.
I know. The movie was a big deal. It was a big deal. And I remember going to an early screening of it because I was that excited. And I was excited because I was one of those people that didn't get to come see you all. And I think there was a lot of us that just wanted our Dreamgirls experience and we wanted to feel inspired. And I listened to that soundtrack all the time. I cried to it. I saw the movie a lot. And that legend swept me up at a time when I was first living out here. And it kind of came at a time in my life when I needed it most.
Okay.
And so what was special about that musical, and most musicals that are based on movie musicals that are based on a musical, they want to grab someone that was there for the musical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because you referred to yourself as the invisible dream.
Right.
You were the only dream girl featured in the film.
The two divas wanted to play their part. They could play their part. They were not gonna let. Then I said, well, maybe we could be their mothers, the girls' mothers, and they because they had mothers, but those parts were too small for the
yeah. I mean,
the mothers just were like.
True. I know one of the actresses that played Dina's mom, and I know it's a quick scene, but I was happy to see her.
So that was not gonna work for Jen or Cheryl. So I think they wanted to play their parts.
What was it inside of you that said, I'll be there?
I talked to a couple of people about if I was offered anything in the movie, should I do it? Because I didn't know if it was a good thing to even be in the movie if I wasn't playing the part I created. And one of the old timers told me, girl, you better do that. Because if you get offered the part, then God sent it. You can't be turning down gifts. And I work a lot because it has to be I really have to not understand it a lot of times to not want to do it because it's making people's dreams come true. I mean, people that create stuff, these scripts they've worked in, once you create it, then you got to sell it to somebody, then you got to make people believe that it's, so I had worked with Danny Glover before, and he was in this particular scene. And they let me sing a little piece of something that I liked. And so I thought that was nice. So it was like a representation of the show in a way. And I did feel like it was because of me feeling invisible the whole time, for me to even be in the movie was a way of God saying, so, chill out about it. It is what it is, and let's keep going forward. And so it was hard to see in a lot of ways. Because my character to me was always the goofy one in Dreamgirls. L'Oreal was kind of goofy. Her arms were longer than they should have been. If you watch, in every correct position, she's a little off, just a little off, a little too, whatever. And the show always had the excitement of them being young and excited about being discovered. That was like the thing that was underneath it. So now this is 20 years later or so, and Cheryl has had her kids, and we're all so much older, and we can't be that little girl anymore, to me, And so they had me playing this old bitter bitch in a nightclub.
Singing, I'm changing.
Singing to Danny Glover. So it was like, okay, God, if this is what you sent it.
Well, it was a joy to see you.
Oh, thank you.
Screen
it was a joy to be a part of it in a way, and it changed so many people's lives. And that's what movies do for some people.
Yeah. Back to TV, a show that I just recently got a chance to do a couple episodes of, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And you were there in the beginning, the beginning, and I was grateful to be there in the most, it's 21st season now at this point. Debbie Allen called me to come on, and I was grateful to be on that set. And it's really an iconic set. It's to be there, to look around a show that we've been watching on TV for so long. I got a chance to watch your first episode in the show, the second season, where we realized that Dr. Weber has a wife, and you are friends with McDreamy's ex-wife.
Uh-huh.
And you just sort of come in, and it just makes sense, and it feels right. How exciting was that for you to go be a part of a juggernaut? In season 2, it was already a juggernaut by that point. What was that like for you to walk onto that set then?
Scary. Because you never know, but Jim Pickett would always say, "Baby, it's like butter over here. It's like butter." You know, whenever we would do our scenes, it's smooth like butter. And he was always very giving in the scenes that you had to play with him. And I was close friends with his wife when we were in Dreamgirls. And so we all knew each other from way back then. And so it was just, it felt real natural. It felt good to be a part of it. And I worked in it for 7 years. I didn't realize it had been that long and I was always just reoccurring though. Whenever they could fit everything in with everything else, I would get a chance to go on. And they always made you feel important and made you feel at home. And then you'd see the actual show and it would be like, wow, that's good, you know? So that part of it was really good, especially in the beginning when you just didn't know what was going to happen next and all of that. Yeah.
And it earned you an Emmy?
Yes, my one and only. I have this story. Alfre Woodard was sitting in front of me and I was just, and I'd worked with Alfre in a show and I told her, I'm so nervous because I'm up for an Emmy. She said, "Oh, I've been nominated 8 times, or I have 8 Emmys." It was one of the two. But yeah, and she calmed me down, and I just couldn't believe that I won, and then I got nominated the second year. And so it was just, and again, timing is everything, because it happened at a time where I think I got into a magazine in a green dress where I blew up into a huge picture because it was so nice, and I have it on my piano at home, and so it's wonderful.
Is it validating to be recognized by an academy, a television academy, when there are so many obviously amazing performances in television every year, and especially on the big shows, but for you to be singled out and for that performance and that character, which I think is such a great character. She feels so real. She feels so grounded. You believe everything that's coming out of your mouth. What was it like to be honored in that way?
I thought when I got that Emmy, I said, "Oh God, I'll never have to worry about working again." They fired me like a week later my character died like right after that. And I was like, oh my God, what did I, so it's just the way show business is. You can't, no, I don't think one thing can guarantee another thing. And it had to do with the childish way you think about show business. And Michael Bennett used to say to us, it's show business, not show charity. And so, in your mind, you expect certain things to bring certain things, which is from what you've seen with people at the Oscars. You can see when they win, you go, oh God, now it looks the way everybody. But I have 11 NAACP award statues winning from doing so many different things, but nothing is like the first time. Oh my God, I can remember the dress, I can remember the art, I can remember that feeling, and it's the same with the Emmy of going to the governor's ball or wherever the big thingy that happened, and then they're back there eating hamburgers and stuff, and you go, what the heck? Anyway, it's show business. It's like, how dare you believe that anything is true after you've been in show business for years, because it's all made up. It's all make-believe, all of it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because you had so many big, I'll call them landmark moments in your career, classic movies, amazing television shows. And I was thinking about this with Waiting to Exhale, but I can even think about it with the Emmy. There's something that happens when there's this big deal thing in your career. Either everything happens after that, or it feels like nothing happens after that. And I'm curious for you can talk about either Waiting to Exhale or the Emmy moment. Did it feel like things have changed in my career? Or did it feel like it was sort of more the same?
No, things changed but in a lot of ways they didn't, because I never know what's coming next. I don't know how anyone can say they know it unless they're producing it themselves. And then you do have people that now create their own reality in the business. But now I think I'm moving into another area of show business, which is the age thing. It becomes about, oh, you should be finished by now, or you should go sit down somewhere by now because of your age. And so now, like there was only one Golden Girls, now you hear all this about, we should do a Black Golden Girl. It's that talk has been going on for the last, I don't know how long, and you don't know who's going to actually try to do that, because I'm sure someone will. But so it's just like hurdles that you go, that you go over and hope for the best. I guess that's what I should say. And it's all good, It feels that I've had a career and it's still going. I mean, I have so many shows that are in the can and so many things and because I've done so many independent films and short and films and things, you have people that create stuff and think of you because they know you'll do. I just did a student film yesterday for somebody, and then another little girl has asked me, could I do her student film to help her, blah, blah, blah. So I always, when I can, I say yes to things like that. And you just keep sort of wishing for the best. I don't know any other way to put it. You hope that you're able to keep being able to remember long scripts, or to do, to tap in a show if they ask you, I try to say yes a lot, but lately I like to knit and and sit around and watch the games with my husband. So that feels good too. So, so you just have to decide, what do you want to do the next week,
I receive that.
Next day.
I hear that. Last but certainly not least, the credits we'll talk about is the Carmichael Show. I was watching that show, from the first season, this morning, and cracking up. I reached out to Gerard just to tell him that I was going to talk to you, and how happy I was watching the show. Again, I remember watching it when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
But that pilot, and I also got into, some of the rest of the first season, you are playing Cynthia Carmichael, who we now got to see in his reality show, his docuseries, The Real Life Cynthia, and which gave me a very interesting context, I think, because initially I watched the show, he's like, yeah, I want to do like an All in the Family, but it's Black and it's modern. And I think he was very successful, actually, at that. He would always say, we're in a living room, there's different generations, and we have different opinions, and everybody's voice is going to be heard. I remember him saying that. And then, he did his sort of reality show, kind of giving you a peek inside of his actual family and the real life Cynthia. You are giving us so much in that character, who we know is based on a real person, his actual mother, loosely based maybe, but she's very religious. And she's very set in her ways. She's very old school. And she loves her children very much.
Right.
And there's a particular episode which is about the protesting.
Oh, God, yes. I remember that one.
And you put on your protest clothes and you go out and you're talking about how to do it. You shouldn't do it in wedges. At one point you break into song. I was just curious, did you want to meet the real Cynthia? Did you meet her before you got going? And was there a lot of pressure on you, or were you nervous about playing someone that was based on someone real?
Yes, I met her, but not before I did it. And I never associated in my head with her necessarily.
Even though it shared her name.
I know it was her name, but her son wrote it, and it's his impression of her that he was writing, and not really like her. But when I met her, she was very pleased with what I was doing with her. So if she was pleased, I was pleased because, one episode where I had to say the N-word, big restaurant, the whole thing, and then Cynthia had to actually say the N-word. It became this big thing in my head because she's so religious and so proper in so many ways. But it was so hard to lose that show because I just thought it was such a good show.
Smart.
And so smart. And it was over some political scene or some political show that they were saying no, they didn't want to air. And Gerard was saying, well, then you don't want the show. So it was a time when we were all in New Orleans because it was Essence Fest when we found out that the show was no longer gonna go. And it was a big time for Tiffany Haddish because that was when her big movie, Girls Trip, was coming out, and we were all there rooting for her and everybody, and that became the core thing under her. And then Lil Rel had just got Get Out. So everybody was moving anyway. Their careers were moving. And then Gerard got another show afterwards, but it didn't do what the Carmichael Show did. So it was hard to lose that show because I really loved doing that character. And I loved working with David Alan Grier because I had worked with him at Dreamgirls. He had been one of the 12 men that came through that show. So many came through. A lot of them are gone now, though. Yeah, so.
You're surrounded by comedy heavyweights, and almost, every scene. You're with David Alan Grier, Lil Rel, obviously Gerard, Tiffany Haddish, and I hadn't thought about it until I was watching it again. And you not only hold your own, but you just feel just naturally funny. You're not pushing it. You're not trying to, out funny them. Mm-hmm. What was it like on that set? And what was the chemistry? How did you guys find that chemistry to be a family, to feel like a family?
It's so weird because there was another young girl that was supposed to be playing the part that Tiffany played. And Tiffany, I think, did the part just because that girl was in New York doing something that she had to finish, and then she would come. But Tiffany was like a little Debbie Allen. It was like, if you ain't here. Tiffany came Tiffany came in with fishnet stockings and a mini skirt and whatever. She was ready.
Literally.
So when the little girl from New York, I don't even know this baby's name, the little girl from New York got there with the wool hat on her head and she had on some pants like you got on. She just missed the mark. They said it had to be Tiffany. And so Tiffany added a whole different level of comedy and everything because her comedy is so real place. You just feel like it's just happening. And so everything just flowed. It felt funny. It was fun. And then Amber West was so straight. Everybody was perfectly placed. I can remember the auditions because I went in a couple of times, and I think they cast me before David Alan Grier, so David Alan Grier was coming right after I did. It could have been the reverse, but I think so. And so I was just so scared I wasn't going to get it. And then finally I got it, and I was like, woo! So it was on again. So you always, and I did Family Reunion for Netflix for 5 years. So after you've ever been in one of those family shows, it's such a good, I call it good living, good living. Like Bernie Mac used to say, good living, good living. Yeah, because you know where you're going to work, you know what script is coming, and you know you got to learn your lines. So it's just like a person with a regular job, but it changes. But so my life has been like that for almost, 50 years. It's been like just hit it and quit it, hit it and quit it, hit it and quit it. And so it is what it is.
Does that affect the decisions, how many times you say yes? You say yes a lot, but are you taking that into consideration when making those decisions?
Well, when the work is happening in LA and you're in LA, you say yes. When the work is now, even when you're doing something for a friend, they go, "Well, we're gonna have to leave LA because everything is feasibly cheaper." And it is, although it's 2 days, we'll put you up and whatever. But then that's cheaper than trying to stay here in LA. It's cheaper for the fly me. It's just weird, So you go, which is another reason to go. Maybe I'll just, you have to really think about the decisions you make because you can get an offer to work 3 weeks in New York, but you have to be away from your family for 3 weeks. So all of that's included in your decision making. Yeah.
Last question. What's your definition of a really great actress?
It's a good actress is one who gets a chance to act and work. And I've been blessed in that way, I think, to get a chance to actually do it. I think I'm a good actress. And some things I've seen myself and I can't even believe it's me. Go, wow, I did that, And and I think that's why I work really hard to get things down as right as I can before I even get there. I have a strong opinion of what I'm trying to create and how I built it in my head to be important when I'm doing it. And most times I'm pleased with what I see after I've done it.
I think I agree with you, and so would a lot of people, that you're one of our really great actresses.
Really?
Yes.
I would never think you would think that.
Why is that?
I don't know. Because you're the new hot chick on the block.
I wouldn't be sitting here were it not for all these credits and more. I only talked about just a few of your amazing credits, and these are some of my favorites, really.
Okay.
And some things I'm grateful I got to see when it was happening, as it was unfolding, because you really are one of our dreams come true.
Thank you. Because I feel real regular,
There's nothing that, look, it's interesting because I don't think there's anything regular about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think you clearly, there's something about you that is special, that's unique, that's different, that's unlike anyone else. And I believe everybody is special. Yeah. I love Jennifer Lewis says she realized she was a star when she knew everybody else was one. And I
feel that way, though. I've always felt that way. But then I've been doing everything forever, seems like. Even before I started being an actress, I taught for a long time. When I was artistic director at the Black Arts Center, and then when I work with kids a lot. And there's no way to miss that everybody is uniquely whoever they are. But I still think of being able to work is though sort of like a blessing that's sent from somewhere you go. With so many people wanting to do this and so many people being good, to continually get to do it is something that I've been blessed to do. And I can't say why opposed to anyone else, but I do work a lot. But a lot of my stuff, nobody's even, Yeah, I don't think anybody has even seen it or know about it. And then I'm shocked when people come up and say, this is the thing that I love, or this is the thing, because people will tell you what they've seen. I didn't, And my people handle it different from some of the other people. Like with people that have seen me on Grey's Anatomy, they act one way, and people that have seen me on P-Valley, they whisper.
They say, hey. I'm like, everybody can shout Waiting to Exhale. That's pretty, that's pretty fair. No, I mean, I think we all are grateful that you've been working as much as you have and that you continue to say yes, because we just always love seeing you.
Oh, thank you.
And we appreciate you. And I'm grateful to you for
But
taking the
Kamala
time.
Gibbs said, I love to be seen and not viewed. That's Marla's line. Marla Gibbs, another one. Another one of my heroes.
Come on, iconic actress 227. Her Hollywood star, her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, well earned.
Oh, okay.
Well earned. And I know you'll be at Cheryl's ceremony. I look forward to, continuing to celebrate you.
Thank you.
As you continue to shine your light on all of us. Okay. And thank you for letting us shine a light on you today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
That's a cut.
Legacy, oh legacy.